In this video, I'm going over how I've built this 3x3 socialization enclosure for my blue tail monitor Haku, who's currently going in the water. This is an enclosure kind of taking the idea from Mike's Monitors, who does socialization enclosures. There's so many out online, but this was kind of my take because I only had a wooden vivarium rather than a glass bottom. So I've kind of made it how it can still work as a socialization enclosure, and he can still do everything, and I can still interact with him how you would those sort of enclosures. If you haven't seen them, there's, like I say, there's many videos online that you can go and like have a look at. Mike's Monitors, Brad's Bioactive Builds. Everyone's kind of done those sort of socialization tanks, which work perfectly for anything. Obviously, this guy, Blue Tail Monitor UK, not captive bred at all. He is farmed or wild caught. So it's a lot harder to tame these species down. So having an enclosure like this that works functionally well and that he's not going to be stressed out his mind in, but also works well for me trying to socialize him, because the goal for me is to eventually breed blue tail monitors, but also to have a social blue tail monitor, because they are a very, very shy species. The ones that they're usually seen as adults, they're not very nice. So I was seeing if I can get this guy friendly. I'll throw clips in of how the socialization process has been going with him. This is just kind of an enclosure build, so anyone kind of replicate this. This works really well for any water monitor species, so you put Asian water monitors and stuff like that in there. Rudicollis, any indicus complex works well in here as well, because mangrove monitors love to dig, so do these guys. So there is a bit of substrate, but I'll go through it all. You could also put peat throats, like I say, rudicollis and stuff. So there's a whole array of species that this enclosure will work perfectly for. So the first thing, obviously, water. Most of these socialization enclosures, that you see, they're just completely water-based. Obviously, having a wooden vivarium, I can't do that because, well, the wood, if you spray the enclosure too much, you get bowing anyway. And this is silicone, so that wasn't an option. And I needed a water bowl that I could take in and out of. Hello. It's actually really good, to be fair. He's not showing any signs of stress. So I needed a water bowl that I could get in and out, which is why you see the branches are going along the side. I'll get to that. But I had to put a large water bowl in here that he can go and feel safe in. So these monitors in the wild, smaller lizards like this, they'll sit along branches, along banks against rivers, and they dive straight into the water as like a defense. Basically, they're faster in the water than they would be. They can evade predators like birds and all sorts of other things. So they'll be more safe in water. That's where they feel safe. That's why these enclosures work really well. So having a large water section that he can feel safe, he can get in and out of perfectly. That's why there's a big branch in there. And you can see the foliage in here. This is something I recently added, but it works well. I didn't have that in there before, but it's perfect. It adds a little bit of cover for him, and he feels safe in there. So he can go in there, feel safe. The only thing with this is I have to have substrate. And obviously a lot of the socialization enclosures, it's just a pure water bottom that obviously I can't do. So when you have substrate, they like to dig and bury themselves. Obviously this, you can see it has substrate in here. This is a mix of like compost with actually what the backing is, which I'll get to in a second. So it's about 1 inch or 2 thick. He does actually sleep under here. You can see he's vibing. He's got some of the background in there. So the substrate's about 1 inch or 2 thick. It's only about this, which he can still sit under. He can still get under it if he wants to. But I did that so that he can't always sit and make tunnels and things like that. He can still get under there. He still feels secure. He can get underneath that plant. There's a living plant in here as well as a ficus. But this substrate means that he'll feel secure in it. Again, these guys like to bury themselves. Mangrove monitors, a lot of indicus complex, water monitors. Water monitors are known for digging massive tunnels and stuff as babies. They're basically semi-fossorial as youngsters, same as these guys. So giving them substrate is still good, but I don't want him to literally live in the substrate, because this is where a lot of people will then obviously not be able to socialize them because you're not seeing them. For the background, I've got, this is bark trellis actually. It's quite cheap. If you're in the UK, you can get it from B&Q. It's like 30 quid for a massive roll. It's about a meter, I think it's 1 meter by 3 meters, and it's like 36, 35 quid. But it works perfectly. There is mesh wire on here, but I've kind of made it so he can't get his can't stab him or hurt him or anything. He doesn't get his claws caught in any of this or anything like that. It's fully climbable. I didn't want to buy really expensive court panels for this because he's not going to be in it long. Females get around about 3.5, 4 foot. Males can get upwards of 5. There are bigger ones, but average around about 5. Males are also stockier. So I didn't want to have to buy massive cork sheets that are really expensive to put in this enclosure that he's not going to be in for very long. So cheaper way of doing it, just have to make sure you screw it in really well, because I screwed it in really well apart from that one bit which he just sits in, so he can sit into about there. So he does sit behind there. And yeah, it goes all the way around. He uses the whole thing. He's usually on the back or in the tunnel. He's actually displaying himself pretty nicely today. We've just come back from a zoo. So the branches, like I say, I had to have a big water bowl. That was the goal. That's like the main thing of the socialization vivariums. They need a big water area. I have to have a big tub, which means I have to get it in and out of the enclosure. Obviously, having a massive tub and then having to pull it out means that I'd have to take the glass out all the time. So instead, I've done it so there's only one branch that actually comes down onto the floor. And I kind of swivel the tub and pull it out. So all the branches are actually, you can see they're screwed into the side. So all his branches here, he's got so much vertical space. You can see all these branches are perfect. He's got this one as well to climb up. He has branches go up. Well, he has his background, which he fully climbs. These guys, they climb massive tree trunks and stuff. Like one of the videos that I've seen of these fairly recently, where they found them in the wild. This like big 5 foot male was literally just climbing a tree like it was nothing. So making sure you give these guys some height is really, really good. He obviously has a cork tube in here as well. So he's got different branches. You can see different thicknesses, different barks, which he climbs to really well. And this helps keep his nails nice and trim. This stuff's quite soft, so it's not going to hurt his claws. So his basking spot, I've made it so the cork round is not actually facing fully forward. It's off at a slight angle, but it means that I can still go in and feed him. He sits usually at that back bit. So he curls up, he feels nice and secure. There is a hole there as well if I want to socialise him with, where I can feed him. But he'll sit down there. And obviously this is a basking platform as well. So he'll sit out basking, he'll sit inside it. He normally has 2 little spots where he sits under the substrate. One is down here, and one is down there. And then he sleeps in there as well. He's got areas to feel safe and secure, but he also comes out a lot more. So if I was to give him an enclosure like my green tree monitor, I wouldn't see him. He's obviously got like 6 inches, 7 inches of substrate, with loads and loads of branches everywhere, cork tubes. If I put him straight in that, I wouldn't see him. There'd be no chance of me socialising whilst he's younger. Obviously these guys, being a monitor, you want to socialise them whilst they're a bit younger because it's a bit easier. So for heating and lighting, I use the same stuff as I use for all my other, for everything now. So I've got a halogen and a deep heat projector from Arcadia. Guards around this because I don't want him trying to access them, because like I say, this goes all the way up to the top, so he could literally just jump on it or burn himself, which I don't want. Basking spot reaches upwards of like 50 degrees. It's hot. These guys like it hot. Bluetail monitors are known for obviously basking on the bases of trees or banks of rivers. Not much is known about bluetail monitors, but that's what we know of. They like it nice and hot. So give him a nice hot basking area. He sits up here. When he's in the substrate, obviously it's a little bit cooler, but I have my Woma Viv down here, which obviously adds a nice bit of warmth. So this water actually isn't too cold. It's nice and like lukewarm, which is perfect for him. Means that when he jumps in it, he's not obviously freezing cold. Doesn't shock him or anything like that. So if you haven't got something that obviously where the water is going to be warmer, I'd recommend like a heater or something in your water. You don't want it freezing cold. You don't want him to jump in it and it's super cold. So the heating's actually linked up to an Evo Connect 3. So you see his temps of this now because it's getting to night time. So his temperatures are 34, 35 at night. I cool him down. That stuff. This is a fantastic piece of kit. So you can actually connect more heating, and then I can ramp them up and ramp them down to give them a proper cycle. That works really well with the Jungle Dawn LED and the UVB that I've got in there, which is a 6% Obviously, if you didn't have the branches all the way to the top, I'd probably recommend a 12. But you can see that branch here sits directly underneath the T5, and I don't want him getting UV burns or anything like that. He'll literally just cook himself. So 6% in here because he accesses most of the top. He's usually in this top third. Literally just some fake foliage to add a bit of cover as well. That's basically it, to be fair with you. And then it's kind of like learning how to actually socialize the animals. It's a really slow process, especially with blue-tail monitors and like mangroves, and a lot of the indicus complex are super shy lizards, which is well known. These guys are not known for being the friendliest at all, but they're absolutely stunning. So I want a friendly blue-tail. These enclosures are known for being fantastic. Obviously, there's so many videos online where they show they work. There's people on Instagram that show that these enclosures work. This enclosure has worked amazingly for me socializing him down. It's not a quick process. I know with certain people having captive bred water monitors and coming eye and things like that, it's a little bit faster. But if you're getting a wild caught animal or a captive farmed animal, it is a slower process, and you just have to take each day as a win. He's now starting to chill out when I come into the room or open his glass. You can see that he's actually not too bad. He is staring at me, and you can see that he's slightly stressed. He's not tongue flicking. Reading all the body signals of these animals is also a massive cue. So you can see that he's wary about what this camera is, what's going on. But he has made massive steps. So reducing stress is obviously the biggest thing for these. When you've reduced the stress, it means that they're going to be easier to socialize. Obviously, they're out of that stress mode. They're in kind of a thinking mode, where these guys are actually going to be in their thinking brains. These are super intelligent animals, where it's like training a bird, basically, is what I tell a lot of people. So making sure that he's got everything that he needs, it's reduced stress. It means that it's going to be easier to socialize him down. It's not a quick process, and don't get discouraged. But making it easier for yourself when you're actually socializing them is massive as well. So that's why we offer the feeding holes, the cork round, and easy access. So he thinks he's safe in this water, but I can still go in and feed him. Learning those things and learning how to actually do those things and making it easier but reducing stress for the monitor is huge. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you guys have learned something on how to actually set these enclosures up. I know these videos online help me set up this enclosure and learn how to actually socialize my monitors. So I hope you guys have learned something. Subscribe, like, follow our social medias. Everything goes a very long way, and we really appreciate it.